Lost in a twisted world of perils devoid of heroism or pancakes, 3 adventurers discover a man who's lost everything, including his memories. Questing together to right wrongs and regain these memories, the party discovers they've secretly been living in a nightmare. Awakened in a world not their own, filled with wonder, beauty, and danger, our heroes try to piece together the truth of their reality and live a new life of pristine dreams. Formerly Hal, a human rogue tricked into a lone confrontation and killed by a knife to the gut, Nyx is the newly reincarnated Genasi with a fear of meeting her former's fate. Raised alongside their cousin Salir by their abusive bandit uncle, Rinverhi escaped to a holy life of worshipping the sun deity Apollo. But are they truly worthy of the light? Orphaned and trained as a monster hunter with only a seemingly sentient cauldron at their side, Bran Gideon wonders if their years alone will see him become what they trained to destroy. A cloak bearing the symbol of a bear claw is the only clue to the forgotten past of the mysterious Kenopsia wormwood. Has their life been a dream all along? Leading our party through the realms of Dread and Beyond is our game master, narrator, and dream master, GM Chavez. Who trapped our heroes in this nightmare land? Why were our heroes really brought here? In the end, is it all just a dream? We'll find out together, right here, on Pristine Dreams. Welcome everybody out there. Welcome to Pristine Dreams. I am your GM and host for this evening, GM Chavez, and this is session 7 with our amazing party down below. We have got Cipher playing Nyx. We have got Endo playing Rinverhi. We've got Dusk playing Bran. And of course, we've got Juno playing Kenopsia. And our party tonight will be picking up where we last left off, just arriving at the house of Arati, right? Madame Rava's grandmother, who they have discovered in this ancient Greek town of Arcadia. Now, if you guys have not watched the adventure so far, please make sure to go back and check out some of our earlier sessions. They're labeled and mostly in order. I'm sure you can figure it out. So beware of spoilers from previous sessions. Otherwise, if you're just joining us for the first time tonight, welcome, right? And we hope you have fun following along with the adventure thus far and our amazing cadre of, over here, there we go, super awesome players playing our party tonight. Now, our heroes do have the Prince of Arcadia, Prince Maenalus, in tow with them as they come upon Arati's house. Now, the house is located on an outward peninsula that almost seems as though they are keeping people there as prisoners. And they've basically built a giant garrison at the opening of the peninsula to keep the people who live there kind of in that area. And these are like political rivals and things of that nature to King Lycaon, the king of Arcadia. But as the party has made their way onto the peninsula, they were able to sneak in and find Arati's house and locate her, at which point Cipher, still wearing Madame Rava's cloak, came upon Grandma there, who thought maybe, hey, is this my granddaughter come at long last to find me? And of course, Nyx throws back her hood to reveal her awesome horns and be like, nope, it is me, but I'm a friend of your granddaughter, and she lives. I have some more friends outside, and can we come inside and talk to you? So she, of course, agrees, has them pull their wagon up to the side of the house, and then comes out to greet the party, only to make eyes with Maenalus and give him a bit of a glare before shouting, "You." So Grandma here is the person talking now to Prince Maenalus, who we now know only has one arm due to the ritual of the Xenia, which definitely go check that video out if you haven't seen it. It's pretty wild. And the aftermath of it in the following session. But our party has learned that they were served Prince Maenalus' arm as a sort of weird punishment to Maenalus, and a weird trick of King Lycaon to convince the
psychological warfare. Psychological warfare.
Normal thing to do to your beloved guests.
But in hopes of getting them to commit atrocities that would get the gods to frown upon them as well, as our party is, of course, on a quest to awaken the old gods and gain, hopefully, some of their favor in hopes of awakening people here in our dreamscape. With that being said, before we get into today's adventure, I do want to remind everyone that Rinverhi got an extra point of divine favor last week because of a very hilarious bit that they did. Go back and check that video out. But the rest of the party, we were kind of talking after the fact, and I was like, oh, I was being really stingy with you guys, but everyone did some really awesome roleplay moments over the last session that would have earned them some divine favor in the eyes of all of their deities. So I'm going to go ahead and add them to the board down below as well. So Nyx gets an extra divine favor. Bran does. And of course, Kenopsia does as well. So congratulations
Thanks
on that.
Thanks for the change, Dad.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Speaking of change, one other change related change that I do want to mention is last session too, Rinverhi had asked if you guys had any money, and I forgot you thanks to Nyx did steal money from O'Dare, which you do That's possess. Right. So just to refresh and keep the note of that, Rinverhi has 15 gold that you would have kept from O'Dare, or that's kind of the party's gold. I don't know who really has it, but
we have 15 total. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'm holding on to the money. Okay. I'm the mom.
We're no longer
money.
broke.
Yeah.
If you guys want something, you have to talk to me first. Okay.
So you guys you guys have arrived first thing, kind of in the morning time where Grandma's house is. And she looked like she was making some kind of little breakfast or something before coming out and meeting you guys and seeing Maenalus. So again, she's not made any introductions to anyone, but it's just kind of standing and is like, you. And you guys can kind of notice Maenalus in the cart with you, like you guys are trying to all disembark from the back of the wagon, and he's holding up his one good arm in a kind of like, hey, relax. And Nyx, go ahead and roll us a perception check.
Alrighty, here we go. Perception. Still getting used to this sheet here, but I see it.
No problem.
Here we go, 14.
All right, so 14. So you notice that Arati has kept her hands kind of in the front of her apron there as she's kind of walked out to greet you. And all of a sudden, she pulls a large chef's knife from inside of her apron that she's been storing in there. And she, of course, is standing with you.
Grandma, no.
This isn't the answer.
Grandma, blood does not add to the cookie recipe. It is not a good ingredient. Grandma.
And she definitely looks like she's prepared to defend herself against Maenalus and maybe even attack him. Nyx, what do you do?
I draw my dagger and I point it at her and I'm like, it's not time for that.
Ooh, and she kind of just barely gives you a glance as she's holding that knife out. She kind of just flicks her eyes to you for a second, but it's like locked on Maenalus over there. And she's just like, why is it that you bring him here to my house? Why is he with you? Why does he not have silver irons?
Nyx kind of catches on to that. Silver irons, yeah. So she looks over her shoulder at Maenalus, and then she steps aside and gestures kind of for Maenalus to, be present in this moment. And she goes, Maenalus, explain yourself.
So the
Bran
rest
would
of
offer to help him off the cart.
okay, I was
Or
going
out
to
of the
say
cart.
the rest of you guys kind of have heard this. Now you guys are part of the situation. Like, oh wait, something was going down, and you definitely see the knife. You see what's happening, and yeah, if you're kind of helping Maenalus off the cart, he does kind of have to shuffle off the front a bit as he's still trying to keep his other hand out. Like, wait, give me a minute, and he kind of shakes his head like, yes, I understand why you would be mad at me and upset about this situation. But it has been a long time, and I would not come here under the cover of a wagon if I meant you any ill will. Yes, woman? And Grandma kind of, draws her knife back just a little bit, kind of relaxing her posture, like contemplating like what he's saying, that, yeah, this would be a weird way for him to come at her, And Maenalus continues, we have much to discuss, both you and me, but especially these strangers. But let's not do it here in the street. Take us inside for a moment. I will explain everything. If you still wish to stab me, then I will not fight you. And she kind of stands there for a second, and she turns her head towards Nyx just a little bit to kind of get your take on the situation. She sees you with the dagger. Are you going to relent? Are you going to stay active? I think is kind of what she's thinking.
So with a little bit of a flick of her wrist, she sheathes her dagger.
Okay. All right. So she definitely lowers her knife and then like kind of fans it like, all right, come inside. And she's keeping it low, but out, and in her hand, like ready. And she walks you guys kind of back over into her very humble abode that she looks like she's been stuck living in now. And she paces around to the far side of the counter there. And the rest of you guys are kind of on the opposite side. So once that buffer zone is kind of between you, she sets the knife down kind of right there in the middle of the counter. And it's like where she set it down, she can get to it pretty easy still, but she's got it right there. And she starts wiping her hands with a rag, a cloth that's right there. And she's got some little foodstuffs. And she's like, well then, can I offer all of you something to snack on perhaps?
No, thank you.
Do you have anything that's not meat?
Oh, it is very hard to get meat out here on the Isle. So, yes. And she's got like kind of almost like caprese type stuff where but no bread, but it's got like lettuce and some cheeses and like tomatoes and some oils and vinegar stuff. And she kind of starts assembling that for you and just kind of slides it over as she, takes her knife and slides it kind of in front of her. And she's just like, happy to let you guys eat, but she's going to stand there and watch you guys.
Yeah, and Rinverhi accepts.
All right.
And she puts this food out for them. It's kind of like a gesture of accepting hospitality because we are not your enemy. So that's why he's making a point of eating.
Well, I will say, why don't you go ahead and roll an insight check, Rinverhi?
Okay. And then I die.
And then you die.
No.
And I die.
All right,
New
roll a new character. Yeah.
Yep.
Insight, you said?
Yes.
All right, everybody, meet Endo's new character.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, okay.
No.
So really quickly, just gonna interject here. Everybody meet Endo's new character, Driberi Brahar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rinverhi's brother.
Yeah,
Exact twin. Rinverhi's been sending letters and knows everything.
He just has a
Love you,
mustache
Rinverhi.
or like a beard.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
you're the only
Or-
person
no,
who's
man
got
bun.
like, I've got Salir on lock, ready to jump in here if things go wrong.
Exactly. I have my backup character, you guys.
That's awesome.
All right. Does anyone
Oh,
else
yeah.
want to snack on this, by the way?
I think Bran tries. He gives it an effort.
No, I think Kenopsia is too nauseous to eat.
Okay. So if you try a bite of the food there, it is very like it is not particularly good cheese. It's definitely very like homemade, but it's definitely very old world, you know, where it is not up to kind of the modern standards of what you would find in a more contemporary setting. And that's unusual because you realize like she has one of the more contemporary style homes compared to a lot of the very ancient structures that you've seen. But Bran, you can also roll an insight check since you decided to try the food as well. In the meantime,
Anything to get the taste of the flesh out of his mouth.
Rinverhi, I think you are just happy to do exactly that. Like you were eating something that's regular food after like vomiting and then being drunk for a while. So some real food has captured
The vegetables, yeah.
yes, it has captured some attention away from what's actually going on. With an 18, Bran, you realize like this is the exact same scenario you guys were in yesterday. She has invited you in, but of course is not going to ask you any questions about yourselves until
Right,
she serves you
yeah.
a proper meal and makes sure you're okay.
But like, this isn't someone else's arm or anything. She's like, can we check? She has both her feet or like,
This isn't somebody else's body
right?
cheese, is it?
That's
No.
supposed to
Ew,
Cipher, no. Oh, that's too funny.
Throws up in real life.
horrible.
So she pushes over a jar or pitcher, you know, that has some fresh squeezed juice in it. And you guys can see she's got the rinds of some oranges and things nearby. And Bran, with your insight check, you realize that like having declined the food has had her like, okay, the ritual is over now, you know, which is kind of the proper way to do that. Is not to force food on people, but to invite them to eat with you. And now, you know, if you politely decline, it's no big deal. But she passes the pitcher over to make sure everyone is refreshed as well. And of course,
Bran
Maenalus
looks genuinely relieved. Finally, some decent fucking people.
Finally, some decent fucking hospitality.
exactly. Maenalus doesn't take any of the food or things being offered, but he does politely decline. And he's like, no, madam, thank you. I appreciate the hospitality, and especially a proper use of the Xenia. I'm sure it's something these strangers are happy to see. And he turns to you all, and he's like, just again, for the character's benefit, is like, you see, you should be able to politely decline any food as well. And now the ritual is over. The way my father force-fed you is a horrible miscarriage of what this custom means.
I'm really biting my
Is
tongue. 'cause I
Going
just-
to
Oh, go ahead. Never mind.
see Bran, being the one who doesn't really mind his tongue, God bless, is going to look like Jan, like dead in the eye, or not like Jan, Maenalus, dead in his eyes, and it's just like, I pray you are not there to see the things that I am going to do to your father.
And he kind of just shakes his head down low, and Grandma speaks up and is like, and why would you spare the fate of this one and not serve him the same fate as his father? And she's just
'Cause he's
glaring
not
at
the same.
Maenalus.
He's not like his father or his many many brothers. Takes a sip of juice.
And Maenalus kind of
I
pipes
respect
up,
a man who tries to change his lot in life.
and she kind of has a quizzical face to that she's like, interested in what you guys are saying. And Maenalus puts up his arm and he's like, I am not going to try to tell you that I am a better person than who I was. I am not going to try to tell you to believe me or to believe what these strangers have to say. But they will speak to you the truth, as will I. When I first met you, and your granddaughter was coming to see you as a small child, it was my first time in the Black Forest. My first time facing the bloodlust. Do not misunderstand that coming after you and your granddaughter wasn't something that I felt I could avoid. It was what I had been brought up to do. It's everything my father told me. You were smaller and weaker. The citizens of this town meant for my consumption. But to see the fear in your granddaughter's eyes, to see the terror in yours, even in that state, cut through me. I thank any god that would listen for that huntsman who stopped me. He put an axe in my shoulder then. It may pale in comparison to the wound I suffer now, but it was enough to have me flee at the time. And I know that because of me, your granddaughter was too frightened to ever try to come find you again. And you have kept her from you from this long. I know is something that many cannot forgive. And I would not blame you for not forgiving me for that. But I do want you to know that I am so grateful to find that both of you live, and that my terrorizing of you and my bloodlust at the time did not lead to something far worse, and something I really would feel like I could not come back from. But as the years have turned, I have tried my best to control those urges. And he kind of stands up very proud for a moment. I have never consumed the flesh of another in the form of my wolf. And I vow never to. And you see Grandma just kind of leering at him, and she's processing everything that he said. And you can tell she's struggling with this information and this revelation.
So Nyx is gonna, you said they're tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's gonna finish like the tomato she like straight up just like placed in her mouth and chewed and swallowed down. And she's gonna be like, Madam, he is no wolf. He's just a black sheep. With him, you are in no danger. I had already doubted you ever were.
If you had seen him as I did all those many years ago, it would make you think twice to listen to him now. But I see you wounded. And I know that your form will heal that wound next time you change. But you would not have come of that wound easily. And I have to suspect that this was the work of your brothers, perhaps your father himself. Against my better judgment, I see you, Maenalus, as one who has, at very least, been outcast by your own family. And as such, you may yet serve value to me and these people. It is not often that a group of awakened make it this far into the city, let alone to my door, let alone with the prince of the city in tow. An interesting story among all of you, I am sure to find, yes? So tell me. And she kind of looks at Rinverhi, who's gobbling up this food down there. And she's like, So tell me, Lightbringer, what light do you bring upon my door?
And he'll like take a moment, finishes the bite of food, kind of like wipes his hands and just like, well, your granddaughter, Rava, she has sent us here with a mission. We require your assistance to awaken the old gods.
And you see her kind of like looking around for a second, like she's almost worried or afraid about what she's going to say next, and choosing her words very carefully. And finally she speaks and says, and have you found any others who follow the light as you do?
Aside from her brother, Alexei, no.
And you see that like wave of relief kind of fall over her as, you know, you mention her grandson. And she's just like, and he is well?
Very well.
Then you brighten my doorstep indeed.
Small bow.
But I worry, seeing an acolyte of the queen usually brings word of the dead. What sorrows do you bring upon my door? And she's looking at Bran.
He looks like a little surprised for a moment, and it does like take a moment to like, oh right, that's me. Nothing yet.
And you have seen no death in your time in the dreamscape. But I feel as though death you may have caused, yes?
A lot of it, didn't we? Think about O'Dare. We saw a lot of like people killed by puppets, or at least unconscious. I guess we don't know if they're dead.
Yeah, oh yeah, a lot of those people were super dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Kenopsia stared wistfully off into the distance, thinking about the little puppets doing a Fortnite dance at the top of their bodies. He's just like,
Rinverhi takes out the puppet he's still carrying and makes it do the gritty.
Kenopsia slowly turns his body away.
Hi, sorry about that. I was getting food given to me.
No, you're all good. So, there is one in particular. I can sense it on you. Someone very connected to this dreamscape. Yes. Then she sees Rinverhi dancing with the puppet, which is 100% canon now. And she's like, she looks at it with like big eyes, and she's just like, the toy maker. You took this from his from his realm.
Yes, from O'Dare. The toy maker Zhang. You know
I
him.
wasn't sure if that was all a dream.
Everything and nothing is a dream in this place.
So I'm learning.
But you all killed this man, Zhang?
We didn't kill him.
We killed his puppet son.
And you see that like look of surprise on her that she's like, oh shit, you know, like, okay. And she's just like, this is most impressive. I understand now why the queen would wish to have you accompany this party. And I see
think
now.
Bran blushes. It looks away a little bit.
And I see now that it is not just a coincidence. And she looks at Kenopsia. That you wear that cloak. You are indeed a Dreamwalker, are you not?
So it seems.
The first to arrive in probably centuries. And you have taken out one of the agents of the Nightmare Court. Most impressive. It is no wonder that my granddaughter would risk so much to get message to me. Things will be moving very quickly from now on, I wager. What mission were you sent here with, Dreamwalker?
Well, Kenopsia ponders mission. There's a lot on his plate right now. He's like, well, where do I start? Well, I am being pulled in multiple directions at this moment in time.
She waves her hand.
First, it was
No.
to
Why?
What?
Why has Asteria sent you? What mission did she charge you with?
I have no idea. he did shrugs. I don't know. Just
like, you do not know?
Like, I don't like. I just again. He shrugs his good shoulder because he's just like, I'm going to be very honest with you, madam. I'm hardly aware of what it is that my past holds, let alone a mission that a goddess from above, a titaness from above, has for me. I'm not sure what my what is it? My role is in the grand scheme of things. It seems to be important. Though I wish I could understand more of its importance.
You see her kind of wipe her hands with that rag and set it down, and she kind of walks up to you kind of carefully, making sure to keep distance from Maenalus still. And she reaches up like she's going to grab you by the face. Do you let her touch you?
Just like I think like seeing her hand like move up, he like instinctively like leans back a little bit, and he's just like, is this okay? And he's just, and he'll like upright himself, and he's just like, okay.
You're gonna get grandma cheek pinched.
Yeah,
So,
what an honor.
If you'll let her, she's going to kind of try to grab you by the jaw and literally tilt your head down, and she's going to look at you right in the eye, which is super awkward.
And yeah, he's just like when she does this, he's just like, okay, I'm going to look at that spot in between your eyes where your nose is, just that perfect spot where I do not have to. It looks like I'm holding eye contact. Yeah, just like that. Yeah. He's just like, okay, do not make this weirder than it has to be. Just look at the spot. Okay.
And after a moment, she has this kind of concern, and she lets go with surprise. And she's like, your future is uncertain.
Oh, I know that more than anyone, I fear.
But at current, not nearly as uncertain as your past. You're a very interesting child. And she like
Thank you. he just like his eyebrow furrows as he says this because he isn't sure if this is a compliment, but he's like, okay, sure, yes, yeah, okay, yeah, just like pain smile, just like, yeah.
But she gives you that nice kind of like off the chin sort of thing when she lets go of you, and she takes a step kind of away closer towards Maenalus and Nyx, and she's kind of looking right at Maenalus, like within arm length of him now. So she's kind of like almost like bowing up on him, like being like, I'm not afraid of you kind of thing. But she's clearly addressing Nyx while she's just talking to Maenalus there. And she's just like, so they send the three of you and then a Maenad. This is one desperate group of people, but quite effective, I am sure.
Effective is our middle name.
Nyx is just like, what did you
We're
call
an
me?
eclectic party.
You, the Maenad.
A what?
And then she finally looks at you like with that face of like, what do you mean, what? You know, like everyone else knew who the hell they were. And she's like, you are
We're a
a
little
Maenad. I can tell.
Can you
No,
say
ma'am.
it louder for me? I have something stuck in my ear. He put cups of hand around his ear.
And she shot, Maenad, you're a Maenad.
Thank you. Thank
She's
you.
like,
I appreciate this.
the mad one. Follower of deities of duality.
Yeah. Oh.
And like Nyx is I think that any normal person or like any other person would probably look really confused right now. But she just looks really pissed. She's just like, I am not connected to a god. And she's like, I'm not one of your guardians. I'm their guardian. And she kind of gestures towards like the other three. And she's like, anyone who gets in the way of their mission will answer to me first.
And that is exactly why you were chosen by your deity. Because
There is no deity.
you are a mad one. You follow your own spirit, your own volition. You question what your life even means or what it's worth. So, in turn, you protect the others around you. You dedicate yourself to them. All in the search of who and what you really are. You can deny it all you like, but surely you must know that you are not like the others here. You may be awakened, but you are also twice born. That is what makes you a Maenad.
And so she's like in her head, she's like, dude, you are speaking in riddles here. You know, she's totally confused because she didn't have like, she didn't, no one spoke to her. Like, she didn't have any kind of vision. Well, she had a vision. And yeah, it was kind of like experiencing a bit of madness, but you know, like this whole time, Nyx has just been under the impression that she, you know, was just here to protect the others and make sure that they get to where they need to go and do what they need to do. So she doesn't consider herself awakened, and to hear this is like, you know, this is big news. So she's like, you know, she doesn't know what to say, so she just clasps her arms together, like not clasp them together. She crosses them and she shuts up because she's doing that thing that she does where she shuts down.
Arati kind of sees your mannerisms change there, and she's just like, Why did you not know this child? Did my granddaughter not tell you? Did she not divine your deity?
All I saw was death.
There is something.
She's like narrowing her eyes, like, do not inspect me. I will not be perceived by you.
You said that out loud?
No.
Oh, okay. You're just giving her the stank, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's kind of looking at you, and she kind of reaches for a second, like she wants to get close to you, but then almost hesitates and is like, no, I'm not going to do that, you know? And she's like, it would be prudent to find the source of the turmoil within you, and why your connection is not as strong as the others. Knowing which deity has chosen you will provide you with a strength beyond that which your anger can. She kind of steps back over around the counter where she was and kind of just touches the knife and almost absent-mindedly kind of points the blade like at Maenalus as it's just laying there on the tabletop.
I love how not subtle she is.
All right. So what are the rest of you guys doing as you're sitting there?
Rinverhi went like finished the rest of his food as he's like listening and like watching. What was her name? Arati?
Yes.
Arati, yeah. Go around talking to everybody. Eyes, that knife starting to point towards Maenalus. Yeah, I mean, Rinverhi mentioned that we came here. Rava sent us here because we had a mission to help awaken the old gods. So, he speaks up again. So, I believe our next point of action, now that we've found you, is to return you to your granddaughter and your grandson.
Oh. So they seek a Vestal to relight a hearth.
Yes.
Well, I wish I wasn't the only one for them to find, but such is my duty.
Did you want to stay here longer? He looks around the little hut.
Letting the fires extinguish from a hearth is something the gods frown upon. They would not shine me with the best favor for letting the light extinguish. Hopefully they can forgive that it was out of my hands.
I hope they're more grateful that the hearth is lit again. And then we can see about forgiveness.
The hearths in Arcadia will never be lit. Not while the city is cursed. But we can find one outside the city. And light this, yes.
Where is this hearth?
She kind of actually looks at Maenalus for a second, like to kind of get his opinion, you know, like where the closest one would be. And he's like, there is a hearth in the Black Forest.
Oh. Lovely.
How convenient.
Seemingly you'd have to pass by it on the way back to wherever you came from. So it would seem as good a choice as any, and I can probably lead you there.
I don't know if you should be going back through there in your condition.
Agreed.
I'm not sure I should stay here with my father looking for me.
Is the Black Forest the only way away from Arcadia?
The Black Forest connects all of the different realms across the dreamscape. You always have to bridge it in some fashion. In some places...
No matter what, we're going to be in the forest, aren't we?
Yes, but in some places the Black Forest is less forgiving than others. Certainly around Arcadia, because of the absence of fire, you've seen how frigid and temperamental the forest can be.
Yes.
But if we were to light the hearth there, the forest may become more forgiving.
Well, if that's our only option, then we'll go. Do you know where the hearth is?
I believe I can guide us there, yes.
And then Rinverhi, he nods to Maenalus and then looks to Arati. So, we just need to figure out a way to get you out of here.
And she picks up the knife and kind of casually points it towards Maenalus and is like, and we are to go with him.
If he
That's the plan.
I'm very good at stopping trouble.
He is.
Well, this is your chance to redeem yourself then, Prince. And she turns the knife around and stabs it into the top of the countertop right there. And
Rinverhi is watching this incredibly pointed ire towards Maenalus, this unceasing, I got my eye on you. And Rinverhi's just kind of I see where Rava kind of gets it. This is Arati has a good reason to distrust Maenalus, but just that stubbornness of I found someone I don't like, I will never like them. I see, I understand now.
well, we do have the benefit that hopefully they... Wait, you said you had dined with the king? You had the Xenia with him?
Unfortunately.
And did he know of your business here?
He seemed to guess without us saying anything.
You notice that, with that being said, Maenalus' body language, changes drastically. That all of a sudden he's kind of oh, shit. And
looks at Maenalus
he reaches out and literally just starts grabbing.
This does not bode well.
He starts grabbing food off the countertop and just literally sticking it in his tunic, in little pockets and stuff that he has.
God.
And he's just he knows, Arati, that these outsiders were coming to see you. This will be the first place he looks for us. We must go at once.
Bran starts helping immediately.
I just starts grabbing more tomatoes, let's go! Provisions for the forest, let's go! Back in the car!
So Arati is a little bit she's oh, the peninsula guards change at the dawn. Fresh new guards will be showing up, probably in greater number. They will be storming the peninsula, looking for you, looking for me. Do you believe you can get us out of here unnoticed? And Maenalus is very much kind of I think we played all our cards just getting here.
Do you know if maybe we can take a boat around if it's too dangerous to ride back through?
We are backed up to the ocean here, but they do not let us have boats and things near the peninsula. We can... perhaps you could swim for a boat, but I fear I could not make it. What?
Then we'll ride. What does it matter if we're seen or not? We just need to escape.
Maenalus is like, all of the guards in the city will be looking for us. They'll surely stop us.
Will they follow us into the Black Forest?
No, but from where we're at, it would be pretty... Like, we'd basically have to cross the whole city to get there. Again, I'll pull up the photo here of Arcadia. So you guys are kind of on the far side of that palace, like towards the water. And like you came from where this photo would have been taken. So it's like you basically cross the whole city to the water and now have to move all the way back to get across there. So it's not impossible to go through the city, but you guys would probably have to come up with a pretty solid plan to get these two on board.
Well, we can try leaving the peninsula itself the way we came came in with the cart. And then in the city, there is the sewers, unless the sewers also connect here, and we can just start in the sewers.
Oh, and Arati kind of snaps her fingers and points at you. Our sewers here, they are not like sewers that you find in other cities. We have a lot here that looks modern and a lot here that is ancient, but the basis for everything is ancient. The sewers are not sewers like you would think. They lead into Cavern below the city, Kapsia.
And what would we find in the cavern?
Say this again?
And what would we find in these caverns?
Well, centuries ago, the guards posted up at the entrance to the caves. And only few workers go in there to mine the crystals. And she kind of picks up a lantern next to her. And she pops the top on it and like kind of leans it towards you guys so that you could see like inside of that liquid is like a small gemstone. And that gemstone is actually what's glowing and like reacting to all of that liquid. And yeah, she kind of hands it so you guys can look at it. They mine the crystals from there, but just as the gods control fire, Lycion believed he should be the one to control light. He lets us have small scraps of gems like this and does not let people into the caverns anymore.
So no one mines in the caverns anymore?
Only on the rare occasions do they send people in there.
I see.
I'm sure that they guard the cavern still. Its main entrance is just outside the city and would be right on the edge of the Black Forest. But we'd have to find a way into the caverns from here.
And the sewers could possibly connect to that cavern?
Yes, it should. It should lead into that. And Maenalus kind of pipes in again, and he's like, most of the sewers throughout the city, the grates, the entrances, they've all been sealed off. He doesn't want people going into the sewers. We can try to maybe break into one. But in most places, you're looking at going through a foot or two of solid stone to try to get into the caverns below. I'm not sure we have the time or strength to move that much rock.
Asking out of character, does somebody have like a stone spell or something?
Yes, I do.
Am I misremembering?
But,
okay.
No, I do. It's a area of stone or mud that is like a 40-foot cube. So I can transmute it to mud, But are we
That's
gonna
easy
be
to
able
move than stone.
Yeah, that's easier to move than stone, but I don't know how deep it goes. I am willing to do that. But again, I just don't know how deep it goes. How deep does it go?
You said like a 40-foot radius?
Let's see, 40 foot cube.
I don't think it's gonna go 40 feet. And even if it does, just recast.
I can't.
Oh, is it only like a long rest
No,
to get it back?
It's one charge, and it's from my cloak.
Okay. Is it
And
like
I have, like,
resets?
Resets. I would assume it would reset on a long rest.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it does. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I have like no, like the only other spell slot I have is first level, and then I have polymorph.
Is this on your
but-
cloak, or this is just?
No, this is
Your spell slot.
polymorph is from polymorph is from my cloak as well, and I just have one other spell spot that's first level, and just in general.
Well, I know. I think we are due for a rest at some point.
Yes.
Because I think we're pretty down on stuff, but yeah, I don't think Rinverhi knows this about your cloak, so that's why I was talking about this OOC. So
Yeah.
There is, I will say that, like, when Madame Rava explained all of these items, you guys were in the seance kind of group together. So
okay, so we
you
didn't
should
know
have
about
been
each other's
able,
stuff.
to have heard
Got
about
it,
at
got it,
least those items. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so hearing about like the stone blocking the entrances, Rinverhi looks at Kenopsia and his cloak. I think we would have a way through that. And just kind of trails off looking at the cloak.
And you see Aditi kind of takes a second, like she's thinking, and then her eyes light up, and she like kind of rushes over to Kenopsia and like grabs the cloak to kind of see on the back to see the symbol, and it's just like, you just wore that through the city?
Yes.
Just thank the gods that you have it. Come.
Okay.
And she starts heading kind of to the back of the room that is her house there. And
It's like a security blanket, lady. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
and she rushes kind of back to the far side of the room, and you notice there's like that kind of like storm double door thing just outside. So if you follow her back out to where the mule was, she's going to open that up, and there's like a small underground like pantry. And she kind of waves you guys down to like, come.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you
Totally
go down
following,
there.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's exactly what you'd expect from an old timey place like that. It's just a few feet in every direction, like maybe 10 feet by 10 feet, if that. And it's got like sacks of stuff. You can see there's like the jars of like not bread starters, the cheese starters and stuff like that down there. And she like walks over, there's a rack on the wall that has like nice pottery and stuff. And she looks at it and she kind of just picks one pot up and sets it down, and then picks another pot and sets it down, and then fucking just tosses the rest of the shelf and all the shit on it. Like,
This is my favorite pot. This is my other favorite pot. Fuck all of you!
exactly. And she starts just wiping down the wall, and she's just like, taps on it. And you can hear it's pretty thick, but she's like, I think this is our best bet. And she just like steps away from the wall there.
You just... The tunnel here?
If you have it, like, she knows you have the cloak of a dreamwalker, so she knows what it is.
Yeah.
And she's telling you like, yeah, blast a hole through this fucking wall right here.
Fantastic.
We're just like doing the like head tilt thing that dogs do.
Great. Fantastic. Yeah, I'll transmute a rock.
You at least remember how to do this, yes?
Sure. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's just like, I've never done this before ever. Like Kenopsia, like, you know, when she moves to the side. Yeah, he's like, you know, he just kind of like stands there and he's like, okay, I'm going to do it now. And he is gonna just kind of like slap the wall, and I'm gonna cast Transmute Rock.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna transmute it.
So you cast up the spell, and you're very unsure for a moment, like, man, is this gonna work or not? And you get a weird sort of feeling in your shoulder that you're just like, oh, that's like something painful right there. Your wound is kind of acting up a bit. But you kind of shake it off and push through, and you're kind of like, I guess this is going to work. I know how to cast normal spells. And it's like nothing's really happening, and you kind of focus for a second. And what do you focus on?
I'm trying to focus on, I guess, on how it happens. How does it fall? Like, I think it's a visual thing in Kay's mind, just trying to imagine the stone falling away into, like, nothing, I guess.
All right. So you're picturing in your head the stone just turning into mud. You're like, just turn into mud. Just do stuff. Just molecules.
Just do it.
Start
just
moving.
Go.
You know?
Go away. Just go. Just do it.
And as you do, as you have your hand up against that wall for a minute, and you kind of close your eyes and you think about, come on, wall, like, you're part of the universe, right? I know how you work. And you start thinking about the structure of the wall, what a rock looks like on the inside, what mud feels like on the inside. And as you're starting to think through that in your head, you start getting this feeling of like, well, mud it feels just like cotton candy. It feels like cotton. It's wispy. And you're like, wait, no, that's not right. And you're like, but rock feels wispy and smoky and like cotton candy. And you're like, wait, what? No, that's not.
What? No, that's no stupid. No, what the fuck? No, this is not how rocks work.
You kind of start to open your eyes as like, this isn't working. And you see your fingers push in to the solid stone like it was cotton candy or cotton. And you're like, I'm not trying to transmute rock. I'm trying to change part of a dream. And as that realization hits you, the wall around you just goes into like mud. And a whole tidal wave of mud falls away from you as it falls into this cavern. And it pours out into it.
Gross.
You're instantly like hit with this vacuum where like the cavern is like drawing in air from outside and air from inside is spiraling around. So all sorts of stuff gets kicked up around the room. All your guys' clothes and cloaks start whipping around. And you have to like wince for a second as all the dust in there gets kicked up, and the weird smell of the cavern, that kind of musty, watery smell, like hits everyone. And it's so dark, right, that your eyes kind of adjust for a second. And as they start to come back up, you see, with just the faintest glimmer of light in the distance, that there is, in fact, one of these big, beautiful gemstones just ahead through the entrance of this cavern.
Wow.
Ooh.
The adventure continues in the next exciting episode of Pristine Dreams. Thank you for listening. Visit us on our YouTube channel at D20 Dreamland. Leave us a review, like, share, and subscribe to catch the rest of the adventure. Until next time, sweet dreams.